What's going on, Canes fans? Another week, another win, and another walking and venting. This week, episode number 2. Now, I wanted to do something a little different and start the episode off by walking in the opposite direction from what I normally do. Listen, it's not that I'm superstitious, but just in case, let's turn this thing around and let's start off the way that we did in last week's episode. Now, if you're new here to this series, it's exactly what it sounds like it is. It's me walking along the edge of my property every Sunday while we talk about the Miami Hurricanes. Now, typically it's a hot topic, controversial topic, touchy subjects. We cover all of that in this series. It is called walking and venting, right? But what do you really vent about when your team is undefeated? When you're 2-0, when you beat the Florida Gators in the swamp and you beat an FCS team in the way that you're supposed to beat an FCS team? What do you really do in one of these episodes? I struggled with that all night. I couldn't sleep. I knew I wanted this to be a fire episode. I wanted to bring the energy. And it hit me. It hit me. It was either while I was in the shower or on the toilet. I can't remember. One of the two. And I really started thinking about how long us Miami Hurricanes fans have had to suffer. How long we put up with being bad. 20 plus years, right? 20 plus years. And now here's the thing. I'm not being negative, but I'm just saying we have seen this before, right? We're 2-0 right now. We have a long ways to go. But man, we started out 4-0 last year, and look what happened. So we want to be excited, but we're also a little scared, right? But I want to say this. I'm not making any promises. This is not a prediction video. We're not talking about ACC championship game, college football playoffs, none of that. All I am saying is after 20 plus years of suffering, do you guys think maybe the universe finally feels like that we have paid enough? Do you think that the universe believes that maybe we have atoned for our sins from the previous teams and the violations and the anything and everything that we've done? Do you think that maybe, just maybe, it could be our time and the stars are aligning or the planets are aligning? Because look at the college football world right now. Just take a look around the country. Florida State's down. Virginia Tech lost to Vandy. I know that's a non-con opponent, but I'm just saying. I think they bounced back a little. People were underestimating them a bit, but I'm just saying, right? Georgia Tech. Hey, everybody crowned Georgia Tech. And they said that this is the team to beat. This is definitely ACC championship, contender. That's team number 1. Who's the second team going to be? Two weeks into the season. It's technically week 2. They had a week 0 game, but you know what I'm saying. All I'm trying to say is what if? Bro, listen. What if Miami got a little lucky? Now, I'm not downplaying, the work that's being put in and the recruiting and the transfer portal and all that stuff. But what if for once the timing is just right? Really think about it. The year that Miami goes out and gets the number 1 ranked transfer portal quarterback and running back. And then that just so happens to also be a down year for Florida State. We don't know what Clemson looks like yet because, they got absolutely curb stomped by Georgia and then played a nobody. So I'm not here to judge them yet. Maybe Bill O'Brien with Boston College is a force to be reckoned with this season. I don't know, but either way, we're not seeing the ACC really play out the way that it has in previous seasons. And it's far too early to jump to any conclusions, but you can still kind of look at the way these teams are playing, conference opponent or not, cupcake or not, and kind of get a feel for it, right? Man, there are Miami fans that their lives have been shortened over the last 20 years. There are Miami fans that have had to have been put on blood pressure medication because of this team. Haven't we suffered enough? Don't you feel like maybe it's possible that it could be our time? I know that's not quite how it works. Trust me, I get it. But sometimes you just got a little feeling where you're like, you know what? Maybe it does work out. We have a quarterback. We have a solid running back group. We have a secondary that's going to continue to get experience throughout this season and hasn't played terrible. We got a deep, nasty D-line. Ruben Bain went ahead and got that soft tissue injury out of the way, so that way he gets to play the rest of the season. He doesn't get injured anymore. I'm speaking it into existence. So, man, there's so much potential with this season. Even with how early it is, it's going to be one of them weird, wonky years. We're seeing, big-time upsets. We're seeing things change a little bit. And some of that, I think is portal. I think it's NIL stuff. Finally now, after some time has passed, several seasons, you're starting to kind of see some changes, go into effect here. And you're starting to see the difference that it's making. And I'm so pumped thinking about the possibilities for this season. And I think that we're due. No prediction, no promises, but I think that we're due. And I think the universe, I think the college football world, man, I think it owes us. And what's real funny, and don't get me wrong, we saw this last year when we started winning a little bit, but you can tell when opposing teams' fans start to be like, okay, hold up. Miami might be on to something here. Miami could possibly have something special. And you want to know why? You want to know how you can tell? Because they really start harping on the attendance. They really start throwing out tweets. Rented stadium. At least we own where we play. They really start pushing that stuff. Then they start doing this real funny thing that they accuse us, Miami fans, of doing all the time. And they start bringing up the past. Yeah, I thought we didn't do that. I thought Miami fans got clowned for bringing up 5 national championships. Coop, that natty was back in 2001. Why are you talking about that? So why are you talking about the fact that you were good last year and you beat us last year, and this year, well, it's just this year. But last year, but we owned the series. But this, but that. But it's 2024. Congratulations on whatever you did in the past. But what matters this year is what's happening this year, this season. So they start grasping at straws. They start pointing to things they did to us in previous seasons. They start joking about the attendance. They start saying they own their stadium. I don't care as long as we're winning. Literally, it's as simple as that. It's cool. It's cool if a lot of fans show up, and I hope we can pack the rock and we have a stronger showing each and every week. And if the team continues to win, then I think that'll happen. But man, they're reaching. You can tell they're getting a little worried. They're getting a little scared. But let's pump the brakes here for a second. Let's back up, because I get real excited when I think about potential and possibilities and the universe owing us one. Miami started too slow for my liking against FAMU. It was, I believe, 25-6 going into halftime in that game. And, with the way they picked it up in the second half, I'm content. I'm a happy man. The team did what they needed to do, and they covered the spread. Everything's A-okay. Do not get me wrong, all right? But we can't have somewhat slow starts against these bigger opponents, right? We still have Ball State coming up. and we get them at Hard Rock. Then we have to play USF, upset alert. I mean, they played Bama hard. Can we be honest? They played Bama hard, because when you look at that final score, it doesn't really tell the entire story, man. But USF, you know, they got tired. Bama has a lot of talented guys on their team. They are going to give Miami a game. They are. But then you get into the ACC gauntlet. Virginia Tech is on a Friday, and I believe they've already labeled that as a 7:30 game. So that's kind of scary. At least it's at Hard Rock. Then you got to do the traveling, the test on to the West Coast to Cal. I'm not here to break down the entire schedule. That's not what I'm doing. But I'm just saying that when we go up against that caliber of opponent, that run game can't be like it was in the first half against FAMU. Because the run game really wasn't there. Where were the big, explosive runs? We should be dominating in the trenches. And that's where we really outmatched FAMU. Everybody said, hey, like, skill position player-wise, they have some guys. And they did. We saw them complete some deep balls. But trenches is where we should dominate. And you saw it later in the game. You saw it in the second half. They couldn't handle it. They didn't have the depth. But we have to see it for 4 quarters. And we can't, I don't want to be going down against these teams, especially when it's ones on the road like at Cal. Cal could be a dangerous team this season. They beat Auburn. I don't know how good or not good Auburn is, but still, I'm just saying. The ACC, it goes back to what we talked about at the beginning of the video. What's the conference championship going to be? Is this going to be like a Miami versus Boston College? Is this going to be a Miami versus Cal? Welcome to the ACC. Too early. I'm going to keep saying that over and over. Too early, because people hear me make those statements and then they want to go into the comments and say, but yo, I gave you the disclaimer, okay? Dang, it's early. We don't know. But they have to start faster, man. The run game needs to be explosive all game. It's got to be better. It's got to be better. And we have to keep an eye on the discipline. Overall, I saw many times where FAMU players, there was some extracurricular activity. And for the most part, Miami players, didn't fire back. I know Mario Cristobal talked about that last week, where they pick on Jacoby George. Because I know he's a little bit of a trash talker on the field. And they know that they can, get a response out of him. A little jab. A little push, just a little something when the ref, when his back's turned, he don't see it. They always get the second guy. They do. They know who they can poke. They know this. But it's got to be better, man. We had 2 penalties against Florida, and we had 8 against FAMU. Literally 4 times as many. And that can cost you, man. When you've got, some selfish penalties, when you have, the ones that just really hurt the team. Man, there's these little, I think they call them woolly aphids. These little white bugs. And good grief, man. They are just swarming. They're everywhere. But so, man, Miami definitely has a lot of things that they have to clean up. But that's why we're thankfall. We got tested week 1. Florida's not that great, but that's still a big test. We didn't open up with FAMU or Ball State. We opened up with an SEC opponent at their house. So we get tested early. We come out, handle business, absolutely no problem. Big debut for Cam Ward. And now we get a couple more warm-up games before we get into the conference games. Really, they need to keep their heads down, stay disciplined. They need to stay driven. And really, man, they need to stay hungry. They cannot get content. You know what we can't do? We can't put it on cruise control. We can't think that we can just put this thing on autopilot and just, this schedule is pretty soft. It's pretty easy this season. We should handle business. No, sir. No. We cannot do that. Do not put this thing on cruise control. And I think it's why you're seeing Mario harp so much on staying, he wants them to be driven. He wants them to be pissed off. He wants the team to stay hungry, and he's going to push that. You don't get content with 1-0, 2-0. That's nothing. We're not even halfway through the season yet. We're not even a quarter of a way through the season yet. So these guys have to want it, because that does matter. You don't have guys out there just half-assing stuff, you know? You got guys going 100% every play, because it's got to mean something. You got to see the bigger picture here. You got to really want to push for that end goal and never be satisfied. And I'm happy that it seems like this season right now, have you noticed that it feels like there's a lot more chemistry there? And I say this because with the portal players, it's always the hired mercenaries thing, and it doesn't always click. It doesn't. You know, you can bring in a former 5-star guy or a guy with proven production the previous season at his last school, and when he comes in, it just doesn't fit. You know what I mean? With the players, or maybe with the coordinators or position coaches, like it's not there. And I don't get that kind of vibe from the team this season. And it helps that we have a leader at the quarterback position. That's a huge bonus right there. But I feel like they're gelling. I feel like the chemistry's there. And you're also seeing an effect of, you know, multiple recruiting classes here from Mario Cristobal. And we've continued to say it on this channel. Imagine if we win double digits. Imagine if what he does at 5 wins and 7, what he can do at 10 and 12 in conference championships. You start stacking this thing up. Continue to bring in portal players, because Mario's not afraid to go portal shopping. Just saying. I guess that's really about it, man. I wanted to harp on a few things from the FAMU game. You know, defense has got to tighten up at times, not give up those deep passes, but they are going to hit you with a few. It's going to happen. Nobody plays 100% perfect game all game, every game. It is what it is. You just got to tighten up, work on some things. And I keep saying, what if? Schedules are made so far ahead of time, you know. Coop, when you going to play a real team? Bro, we're playing the teams that are on the schedule. You play the team that's on the other side of you on the field. What do you want me to say? There are plenty of teams in the top 10, top 25 that have cupcakes on the schedule. It is what it is. You still got to beat them. Look at Notre Dame. They had a cupcake on their schedule with Northern Illinois, and they got beat. So now they're real embarrassed. That's why I harp on, you got to beat these teams in the way that you're supposed to beat them. Just complete domination. And that's pretty much what Miami did against FAMU, specifically in the second half of the game. We need to play 4 quarters, though. 4 quarters, man. Rest of the season, every game. And I said it and I'll say it again. Maybe the stars are aligning. We're due. Maybe the universe finally feels like we've paid up and it owes us now. Let me know your thoughts. Man, I like these. If Miami can keep winning, we might have to change it to walking and celebrating instead of walking and venting. But I do tell people, when people say, Coop, this is walking and venting, you know, like, you need to focus on venting about things. That is what the series is called, and this series was fired up when we were down real bad. You know, I needed a place to go and scream and yell about the team and vent my frustrations, and what a better place than out here in the middle of nowhere where no one can hear me. No one can hear me scream. But it's also a place where we can be open and honest. And you can say whatever you want in the comments, because there were people last week when I said this team maybe could have something special. And there were people in the comments that said, Coop, this team has proven nothing to me yet. I'm still not a fan of Mario Cristobal. And, hold up. And that's what I'm saying. You're free to say whatever you want in the comment section on these videos. You can be positive, negative, anything in between. It doesn't matter. You do you, but let's talk about it. I'm happy to be 2-0. I'm happy to be undefeated right now. Let's see if we can do the outro. Let's try it. There we go. Remember though, guys, we're all one big happy college football family, but at the end of the day, I gotta say, it's always better when you get to rep the you. Coach Coop, peace out. I'll see you in the next one.